Okay, okay. So good morning, guys. So how many of you are nocturnal species, late night guys? People who have never had this habit of waking up early morning. So many of you, right? Online students, am I audible to you? Please let me know. So the question was, how many of us are owls who are pretending to be humans this early morning? Right. It's very difficult. And to be very honest, this is also my first time that I'll be taking up class this early morning. And in life, many things actually take place for the first time. So few students actually came to me few days back and they asked me, Sir, we have never read sociology before. I said, yeah, I can understand that, of course. And it is well assumed. I've also never taken any class this early morning before. So that means there is always scope for beginning something for the first time. But the challenge is not just to begin something for the first time, right? The challenge is to maintain the same and continue it for the next 4 5 months. And when it comes to optional preparation, it is very important that we maintain a continuity, because unlike GS, where you will have very scattered or very uneven kind of relationship with different subjects, here you are going to read one subject for 4 5 months. In GS, you read economy for 10 15 days, maybe, or 20 days, 25, polity 20 days, environmental science for 20 25 days. And that too, sometimes the class don't take place regularly, which means you don't read those topics in continuity. Today you read history, tomorrow you're reading economy, day after tomorrow you read polity. Okay, but here one more first time that we'll be having 6 days class per week. Okay, so two first times are there. One is early morning and second is 6 days a week. Yesterday I was feeling very nervous for a very basic reason, that whenever a new batch begins, I always feel excited and nervous at the same time. Excited because I'll see new faces, and nervous because I'll see new faces. Okay. The problem is that whenever it comes to orientation session, I feel one big challenge. What is that one thing that I must tell to the students in the very first lecture, which I have never told before to any other student? Because in every batch, I see new face, new set of experience, new mindset, new sort of enthusiasm, new wave of energy. And I really want to get this energy channelized into proper direction. And that is why I thought, in order to channelize this new phase or new set of energy into proper direction, let me begin today with something unusual. Okay. Unlike the conventional thing that I would usually take up in the orientation session, which is what is sociology. I thought let me first begin with some important ideas that are going to be helpful to you, which are not really sociology related per se, academic per se, but are definitely helpful for you to stay prepared for the examination. Okay. There is one word which is very popular, PYQ analysis. You must have heard this word multiple times now, right? PYQ analysis, है ना? उसका मतलब होता है previous year questions analysis. But this word I feel is overused now. We really need to analyze something else now. And what is that something that we must analyze today in this world of confusion, in this world full of information? What is that something that needs to be analyzed today is the previous year toppers. PYT, not PYQ. Why? Because toppers are very helpful guys, but they are also the source of confusion, right? So they are playing dual role. They are helping you and they are confusing you as well, right? And we, more often than not, get very much influenced by or driven by what toppers have to say. And that is why I thought let me begin with previous year toppers analysis today. And what do I mean by that? What I'm going to do is go through their copies. We have actually compiled data on toppers copy, and we have tried to understand what makes them different. And we have data for approximately 8 years with us. After compiling the data, quantifying everything, we came out with a pattern. We came out with some limited sense of generalization. Okay. And the very basic generalization which I would like to point out is that there are 3 points. One is number of thinkers. Initially, most of the students think that more the number of thinkers, more the marks, right? How many of you think like this? How many of you believe? Yeah. Other guys, their friends must have told them, right? You have to drop multiple thinkers. You can't complete your answer like this. शुरू में डर नहीं लगा आपको कि अब बहुत सारे thinkers होंगे इसके अंदर तो? Because many of my friends have told me number of thinkers is definitely something that scares many people, at least initially. Second thing which scares a lot many people is number of points. Okay, number of thinkers, number of points, and the most um, important thing which they are concerned about is number of marks. The preparation revolves around numbers. The preparation revolves around quantitative data, number of thinkers, number of points, number of marks. And somehow in our mind, we assume a linear relationship between these variables, between these quantitative data sets. So I thought let me first go through previous year toppers analysis, right? And see what they have done. And do we find any such correlation? And then I'll come to what is sociology. Okay, the usual thing. And how are we going to go about our subject? Why I'm going to do this first is because I want you to be very well content and very well complacent as well at the same time of the things that are required for the preparation, because the only thing which creates trouble for us is FOMO in this world of social media, in this world of digital media. The one thing that creates problem for us is FOMO, fear of missing out. Now, fear of missing out is usually in quantitative terms, fear of missing out on these many thinkers or these many points or these many marks. So I thought, let me begin with the analysis itself. Srushti Deshmukh, right? You may have heard her name, right? Srushti Deshmukh, her final score was 312. Okay. She got 162 in paper 1 and 150 in paper 2. And she got selected in the year 2018. When we reviewed her copies, we found out that on average and at max, and especially until the last copy which was written by her before she appeared for the mains, she had roughly around 28 thinkers in whole paper 1. Fine. 28. Total number of questions that we have to attempt are 19, 19. Okay. And this applies to paper 2 as well, that even in paper 2 we have 19 questions to attempt. Okay. After making all the choices. Number of thinkers that she wrote, 28 in paper 1. Paper 2, 38. Average thinkers per copy boils down to 33 approx, irrespective of 1 or 2, 33. Average thinkers per question, 1.7. Of course, 0.7 does not make sense, right? But in statistics, these things do make sense. Writing mode, was it paragraph style or was it point style? So these are the things that I want you to be familiar with right at the beginning, because our job is not just to read sociology. We will be writing sociology as well, right? In our class, we will have tests as well. And that is why I want you to be familiar with the uh, past year trends, what people have done. Writing mode. She used to write in paragraph, and literally paragraph. Okay. There was no points in her answer. It was only paragraph. She got 312. Fine. So average thinker copy per copy 33, and average thinker per question 1.7, 312. Now next is Neha Bhosle. You must have heard her name. Have you? Yes. Number of thinkers in her copy. And we actually went through her blog as well. Okay. In her blog, she had mentioned that firstly, I always want to make sure that I write minimum 4 thinkers in the paper 1. Okay. And in paper 2, if I'm not able to recall 4 thinkers, I will definitely write statistics or data, etc., etc. Fine. But when we reviewed her copy, we found out that average thinkers per copy is coming down to 41, which means per question she was writing 2. Okay, not 4 as stated by her, but she was writing 2. And this is something that we did after reviewing multiple copies, including the last one. Okay. Writing mode was point come paragraph. Not purely paragraph, points come paragraph. Okay. Final score was 287. Technically, she has written more number of thinkers Then the last topper, Srushti Deshmukh. Okay. Her year is also different. That also creates a difference. She appeared in 2018, Srushti Deshmukh, and Neha Bhosle appeared in 2019. Right? But one thing is for clear, that despite having more number of thinkers, at least in terms of average, her score did not really go up as the way Sushti's score had gone up. Okay. जागृति अवस्थी, इनका नाम सुना होगा आपने. Number of thinkers 28 in paper 1, in paper 2 24, average thinker per copy 26. I think of all the three, she had lowest number of thinkers per copy, 26, which means per question 1.3, barely one thinker name per question. Fine. Writing mode was paragraph. Her score is 284. 312, 287, 284. Fine. And this includes total sum of both the paper, 138 plus 146. Yaksh Chaudhary, have you heard his name? इनका नाम सुना आपने? So you have heard only girl toppers name, not boys toppers names. Number of thinkers when it comes to Yaksh Chaudhary in paper 1, he wrote 45 thinkers and 31 in paper 2. Average thinkers per copy 43. Average thinker per question 2.2. Writing mode point come paragraph and score 293. Medha Anand. Average thinker is least, lowest of all the past year toppers. 23 is the lowest. 1.2 lowest. But score one of the highest. 310. Okay. Writing mode paragraph. Animesh Pradhan. Highest number of thinkers. Okay. Highest number of thinkers. 4.1 thinker per question. In paper 100 plus thinkers name. But that did not reflect on the score, right? Technically, Medha Anand, with only 21 thinkers in paper 1, got 156 in paper 1. With only 25, she got 154 in paper 2. And Animesh Pradhan, with 100 thinkers, got 133, which is 23 marks lower than Medha Anand. Okay. इन्हीं से एक चीज क्लियर हो जाती है. There is no linear relationship between the number of thinkers and number of marks. Okay. Vardha Khan, 1.8 per copy. Exactly, her score is exactly same as that of Animesh Pradhan. 286 he got. She also got 286 same year. Both are from same year. Okay. In fact, Medha Anand is also from same year. Medha Anand, Animesh Pradhan, Vardha Khan, all three belong to same batch. Vardha Khan got 286, 142 plus 144, very even score across paper 1 and 2. Animesh got 133 plus 153. Okay. So technically we can assume number of thinkers are not going to have any linear relationship. Okay. Prakhar Kumar. Now he is also from the same batch as that of Vardha Khan, Animesh Pradhan, and Medha Anand. And he got highest in his batch, 160 marks in paper 1. Okay. Despite having lowest number of thinkers across toppers, 20 only. 20. Well, this is the lowest figure and highest marks. Okay. यहाँ से एक चीज क्लियर हो जाती है. There is no linear relationship between number of thinkers and number of marks. 1.2 is the lowest average. Siddharth Singh, he is this year's one of the highest scorer. He got 161 in paper 2 this year, which is highest this year. Okay. Again, his average is equivalent to that of Prakhar Kumar, only 1.2 thinker per copy. 22 barely in paper 2. With 22 thinkers, he is getting 161. And this clearly shows there is no simple linear relationship between number of thinkers and total marks. Students using more thinkers don't always get higher marks. In fact, students with fewer thinkers have scored higher, suggesting quality and integration of thinkers matter more than just the quantity. So, we will always remember one thing. Quantity does not mean quality. Okay, quantity does not mean quality. Okay, what is important is eventually writing answer. When we start knowing things for the first time, we get super excited. Okay, but as time passes by, we realize that we have accumulated so much of stuff in our mind. It becomes difficult to recall right things at right point of time. And that is why, to deal with this issue, it is important that we stay in touch with writing answers. In our class, almost every 2-3 days gap, we have answer writing mode. We solve PYQs, previous year questions, because I really feel that until you know them, you can't know yourself. Which means you can't really know how much you know until you know how to write the PYQs. Secondly, we have tests in our classes. The tests in our class are total 6. And those 6 tests take place periodically. Like in the previous batch, yesterday only the second test was held. And those tests help students get over this fear of answer writing mode. Okay. I usually recommend everyone to write answers in the class. You will actually get familiar with the answer writing as we progress in the class. Okay. So you will no longer be feeling scared of answer writing, that one day I have to write test. I'm sure you will not be feeling scared that day because you would have been habituated to answer writing by the time you appear for the test. Okay. Now, third thing which is very important for us to know to begin this session is what is sociology, right? What is this subject all about? So, to put it very simply, sociology is study of familiar things in unfamiliar ways. No, don't start writing. Have you guys started writing already? अभी अभी तो मैंने बात करी आपसे फोमो की. अभी आपको बिल्कुल घबराने की जरूरत नहीं, यू डोंट हैव टू राइट एनीथिंग. ओके, today's class is not about writing anything. It is just about getting familiar with what you are going to study for the next 5 months. Okay, so that way you must stay relaxed. Okay, sociology technically is study of familiar things in unfamiliar ways. Now, familiar things, there are so many things that we consider are familiar to us, जिनसे हमें लगता है हम जानते हैं उन चीजों को, right? We feel that we know what is social media. We feel we know what is family. We feel we know what is religion. We know what is law, what is state or government. At least we are familiar with these ideas. Okay. But the question is, what are those unfamiliar ways in which we are going to study these familiar things? If I talk about social media, firstly, okay, if I say that before social media, people used to have very high interpersonal interaction, right? That means offline interaction, basically, I'm talking about. Okay, before social media, people used to have face to face communication. They used to have very high degree of interpersonal interaction. They would confide, they would share, they would discuss, they would go out, they would have picnics, they would have a trip. Okay, they would go on vacation. With the arrival of social media, it has been found out by many studies that the interpersonal interaction or face to face communication has gone down among humans. Okay, and we have become more and more lonely, more and more isolated. And the more lonely or isolated we become, the more depressed we become, the more anxious we become, and the less we share with people, less we confide to our close ones. And it is also believed that in the world of social media, we take huge pressure to be happy, to look beautiful, to look good, or to sound nice. प्रेशर लेते हैं क्या हम लोग सोशल मीडिया पे टू साउंड नाइस? How much time do you take to upload your picture? Tell me honestly. How much time do you take to upload your status? Don't you think a lot before uploading something? You think a lot. Do you think that much in the offline world? In the world of social media, you are actually trying to get validation from friends around you, from the peer group. You want to get their likes. You want them to follow you. You want them to share your thoughts with their friends, right? You want them to subscribe you. You want them to retweet you. In the world of social media, most of us are waiting for people's validation. When we don't get, when we don't get the same likes or follows that we initially thought we will get, when we upload this picture or when we upload this status, then we go into depression mode or not? We do get into depression mode just because we did not get those likes, anticipated likes, or we did not get those anticipated shares or followers, whatever it is. Okay, but this is not the only reason for you to get into depression mode, of course. Okay, this is hardly 1% of our social media. Okay, most of the times what we do in social media, we get actually the feeling of FOMO. We feel relatively deprived when we see many of our friends going out to nice places, okay, having party, very beautiful, aesthetic looking places, restaurants, okay. And then we start realizing, when will we have this kind of lifestyle? So you start feeling more of relative deprivation. Okay, relative deprivation I'm saying because it is not that you are absolutely deprived in the world. You have sufficient means with you. It is just that you are feeling deprived vis-a-vis somebody else. That is why relative. Okay. So you feel anxiety, you want validation, you feel relative deprivation, you feel lonely, you are not able to share. Eventually, you feel depression. And it is found out by studies that people who had higher watch time or screen time were prone to suicidal tendencies. समझ रहे हो आप? That you need to cut down your screen time, right? Because we don't know how, but suicidal tendencies develop. The question is, who must have studied this thing? Sociologists. And initially you will think, but this should this not be psychological study, right? सोचा ना आपने? This would have been psychological study if it was happening to one person. But if the impact of social media is not limited to one person, and if it is going to impact many people, I'm not saying all, if it is going to impact many people at the same time, and many of them are going to experience almost same kind of things at the same point of time, that means it is no longer subject matter of psychology. It has become the subject matter of sociology now. Because in sociology, we study not impact of things on one, we study impact of things on many. It is more about science of generalization. We develop generalization. We just study social media in an unfamiliar ways. What impacts can it have? Okay. And what else is the unfamiliar way to study social media? You first have to imagine one thing. Whatever I just told you, if I were to make you visualize the same, I would do something like this. Imagine pre-social media world. Pre-social media world, कैसा रहा होगा वो? We would have had a high degree of interpersonal interaction, face-to-face communication. This is what we believe. Okay. So we have had many individuals and as I told you, high degree of interpersonal interaction. So we can assume that there is strong degree of bonding, a strong degree of face-to-face interaction. But the moment smartphone is introduced among humans, how human species react? ठीक है अभी intentionally I'm using this language. How human species react with the arrival of smartphone technology, with the arrival of ICT, information communication technologies. What is the response of humans to this? So we observed, not just when we did not observe it just among one man or one country's man. Okay, we actually observed this across human species, across territory, and we found out that in the age of social media, the so called tightly knit community bonds have actually become weakened. ये जो बॉन्ड्स हमें देख रहे को मिल रहे हैं, ये थोड़े कमजोर हो गए. ओके, सो इसको हम कैसे बोलेंगे कि ये we can say that the bond have gone weakened. So can I develop very basic generalization on the basis of this, that before technology, especially social media, degree of integration was very high among humans, और फ्यूजन was there. फ्यूजन, आपने ये वर्ड सुना होगा, फ्यूजन, राइट? फ्यूजन का मतलब क्या होता है? फ्यूजन मीन्स या पीपल कमिंग टुगेदर, फ्यूजन, है ना? एटम्स का भी फ्यूजन होता है, कंपाउंड्स का फ्यूजन होता है, राइट? बट विद द अराइवल ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, व्हाट डू वी सी? फिजन, breakdown, highly integrated to disintegrated individual. आप समझे कि नहीं? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That you just studied social media which was familiar to you in an unfamiliar way. अभी यही हुआ है. आप समझ रहे हो कि नहीं? ओके, अभी अभी हमने सोशल मीडिया को जो फेमिलियर है उसको अनफेमिलियर तरीके से पढ़ा है. लेट मी इंट्रोड्यूस टू यू सेकंड अनफेमिलियर thing about social media. I am intentionally talking about social media because we are living in the world of social media. Okay, so I thought, why not talk about social media? Okay, in the very first class itself. Yesterday only, um, you must have come to know that fantasy gaming apps have been banned in India. सुना आप लोगों ने? Online students, fantasy gaming apps have been banned in India. What is the fees? किसका? फैंटेसी गेमिंग का? खुशी? विजय शास्त्री सर, मेंस वालों के लिए एडवाइस. मेंस वालों के लिए? भाई मेंस वालों, तुम लोग क्यों देख रहे हो? मुझे ये बताओ. जाओ जाके पढ़ाई करो अपनी यार, प्लीज. आप लोग को मालूम है दिस इज तो फाउंडेशन वाला. What if the thinkers they used are repeated in other answers? Yes, definitely. Many were actually, and that is why we did not even count them. Okay. Yes, these are all unique ones, unique thinkers' name. Okay. Anyway, fantasy gaming apps were banned. The question is why they were banned. Some people are saying that they were giving such high taxes to government. Is this not the loss of government? Is this not loss to exchequer? We would have earned so much of taxes, and with the help of that tax, government would have spent a lot on welfare schemes, lot on infrastructure spending. Why did government ban them? They could have negotiated with them. They could have imposed higher regulation on them. Ban की जरूरत क्या थी? What is the reason? What's your name? Shikhar. Okay. They were banned. One of the reason which Shikhar is giving is that they were banned because they were not game of skills, they were game of chance. If any game involves chance and is not based on skills, not based on logic, it does not stand valid, and it does not stand its chance to remain relevant. Because chance means what? It is going to be financially very risky, and that is something which they make very clear. Now the question is, how many things are chance based in life? So many things are chance based. Okay. UPSC's preparation is chance based. Is this game of skill alone? No, chance are there. Right. Fantasy gaming we often talk about. Don't we fantasize that life of Labasna? That is fantasy lifestyle. Okay. That means what? I'm trying to compare those games with the game of life. Okay. But I don't want to go into the details of these things away for the time being, because I just want you to first understand and take broader view. Okay. There are many reasons for the games to get banned. It is found out that most of the people who played those games have actually lost finance, have lost family, have lost themselves. ये पता चला है स्टडीज के माध्यम से कि जिन जिन लोगों ने वो गेम खेली, वो लोग अपनी दौलत, अपनी पहचान और अपना परिवार, तीनों चीज खो गए. ओके. क्यों हुआ ऐसा? क्या वो बात सिर्फ मिस्टर राकेश तक ही सीमित थी? क्या वो बात सिर्फ मिस प्रिया तक ही सीमित थी? बहुत सारे मिस्टर राकेश और मिस प्रिया के साथ ऐसा हुआ. ये ह्यूमंस के साथ हुआ है, किसी मिस्टर या मिस के साथ नहीं. और जब ह्यूमंस के साथ कुछ जनरलाइज वे में होता है, तो इट एक्चुअली बिकम सब्जेक्ट मैटर फॉर sociologists. Okay. When you get exposure to such kind of games, your desires are unregulated. Okay. You in your life were content with, complacent with whatever money you had. The moment you saw those games, and those games promised you an opportunity to make million overnight with just 4-5 steps involved, you thought, let me try my chance. I did not try this, but पहले मैं बता दूं आपको, I never tried this. Okay. I'm just explaining to you on behalf of those people who must have tried this. Okay. And when people tried their chance, they lost themselves, they lost their money. Okay. And they also committed suicide. Many people have committed suicide because of such games. Okay. But those suicides often go unreported. Why? Because people don't, the families don't want to admit that our son committed suicide because of this game, because it brings shame to their family कि गेम खेल के मर गया. Okay. So some families do not even admit. There is a thinker called as Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim once said that since past 150 years, this is when he was writing about modernity. Okay. He was writing about modern society. And he was saying that modern society is all about individual lifestyle, right? Individual freedom. And he says that when individuals get this freedom, their appetite, their desires go unregulated because they want more and more. They want to explore more and more. They want all the opportunities in their life. Like if people in the village get opportunity that they can make huge sums of money or have a great lifestyle in urban city, definitely their desires would be unregulated. They would want to come to city. They would want to enjoy this urban life. Similarly, when people come to know that they can make millions, billions through smartphone, gaming, they would want to participate. Desires go unregulated. And when desires go unregulated, right, this is the point when individuals are prone to self destruction. ऐसा माना जाता है कि जब आपकी इच्छा एक सीमा से परे जाती है तो आप वल्नरेबल हो जाते हो टू सेल्फ डिस्ट्रक्शन. You are prone to self destruction. And this is the point when suicidal tendencies develop. If I ask you a very basic question, which of these people commit, do you think, suicide more? The people who are living in the village life or people who are living in the urban life? Urban life. Okay. That means what? That desires go unregulated more in the urban life, because of which this person is feeling suicidal tendency. He is not able to achieve that. When your desires go unregulated and you are not able to achieve that, you start considering yourself as failure. होता है ना? Imagine a person who's not preparing for IIT, who does not even know what is IIT, who does not even know what is UPSC. He will always be happy. Always be happy. No, I'm not saying that you will be sad. Okay. But I am saying that at least he will not have any unregulated desires. Right? We have desires, we have ambitions, and therefore we must be prepared to get little bit of depressed. And I often say depression is not the end. It is just part of the journey. Everybody will experience depression. Do not ever consider it to be some disease for which you need to get yourself checked to some psychiatrist or psychologist, because we are exposed to modern urban life which is hyper competitive. It is this modern life which is putting you into this situation. It is not you who requires treatment, it is the modernity itself which requires the treatment. And who treats modernity? Who studies modernity? Sociologists. Okay. So, gaming was banned mainly because of unregulated desires of the individuals who were not really um, leading happy lifestyle after playing or trying out their chances. They had gone into depression. Many of them committed suicide, lost their family. So many domestic violent cases were reported. And after taking into consideration all those many things and other factors, social factors, ecological, economic factors, then eventually government decided to do this. Okay. So I just talked about social media, how it can weaken the bond, how it can increase the desires, unregulated desires. And one of the very relevant example for us who prepare for UPSC, okay, is that one thing that we often see on social media, especially on YouTube or Instagram, those reels. देखो IAS की power. Have you seen that reel? देखो IAS की power. देखो IPS की power. क्या होता है देखते ही? Our desires go unregulated. And then we actually start looking for that power. How will I get this power? Right? There I was looking for money. How will I get this money? Here, how will I get this power? In both cases, Desires are unregulated. How will I get this status? Who is doing this to us? Social media is doing this to us. Are those officers doing this to us? No, they never intend to. Social media is a world in itself. When you are subject to those world, when you are subject to that kind of lifestyle, you react in certain manner, and that is what becoming the subject matter to sociologist. Understood this thing? There is very unusual thing about social media other than these things. You must have noticed one more thing. Most of you must have noticed that on YouTube or Instagram, most of the things that go viral, most of the things that go viral are actually containing something which involves violence, abuse, hate speech, or communal colors, or sexism. Most of the time, something that you see on social media, I would say, is a content which is highly developed to please male eyes. If I say something like this, most of the content which goes viral is the one which please male eyes than female eyes. Our algorithm on YouTube is designed in such a manner that it will facilitate more and more male driven or male created content that actually caters to the male audiences more than female audience. That is why you will see many songs which get popular or viral may involve objectification of women as well. And we see how those things easily get multiple views. Why? Who are viewing them? Men are viewing them. Okay. Social media world is very masculine that way. Most of the people who are creating content on social media are men. There is a study on this. There is a data called as Global Gender Gap Report. And then there is a study called as Global Gender Mobile Gap. Mobile gap means the differences in terms of access to smartphone varies across gender. Okay, which means like it's our urban privilege that all of us have smartphones, right? Okay, uh, but when you compare men with women, you will find women do not possess smartphone vis-a-vis men, and even if they do, the smartphone is not really smart, it is just feature phone. Because in India, according to report, women possess feature phone more than smartphone, and which also means most of the phones are without internet. And that is why most of the people who make content or create content or watch the content are men. And the content that you consider to be um, simply algo driven is actually driven by male gaze, male views. The ones which got maximum were recommended to you. Okay, so that means I just studied social media in अनफैमिलियर वे, मतलब ऐसे हम नहीं देख रहे होते, हम तो सिंपली बस कंटेंट को कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, राइट? वी आर जस्ट कंज्यूमिंग कंटेंट, बट वी आर नॉट बॉदरिंग इनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड the male ego behind this. Fine. We are not bothering to understand how individuals are becoming isolated or individualized or developing suicidal tendencies. We are not bothering about these things. We are just involved in this world without critically evaluating our position and the platform that we are involved in. So that means sociologists are mainly analyzing the situations that humans are involved in, and they are thinking through those situations. They are not just watching men, they are also analyzing how individuals behave in this world. Okay. So I just talked about feminist ways of looking at social media. Masculine, violent content get high views. This is feminist way of looking at social media. Okay. So it is not just social media alone. We study in our syllabus family, which is very familiar institution. All of us have family. All of us are part of family. All of us will create our own family as well one day, right? If I ask you why family exists, what will you say? Why family as an institution exists on planet Earth? Let us imagine one situation. There is a planet called as Mars. Let us imagine that on Mars, one day we will have many millions or billions of individuals. The question is, will those individuals in the Mars will also make family like us? ये एक सब्जेक्ट मैटर है एक सोशियोलॉजिस्ट के लिए अपने आप में. देखो मार्स में पानी ढूंढ रहे हैं क्योंकि पानी हम पीते हैं, तो हमको पानी ही ढूंढना है. हम कुछ और ढूंढना नहीं चाहते क्योंकि हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं है पानी के अलावा. राइट, आप समझ रहे हो कि नहीं? अभी हम मार्स को अर्थ की नजर से ढूंढ रहे हैं. पहले तो आप इस चीज को समझो. When you think of God, how do you conceptualize God? God is having two eyes like us, two legs like us, two hands like us. That means our imagination is so limited. We are trying to imagine life on Mars on the basis of lens that we have borrowed from Earth. Right? Let us keep this lens intact and then see, will humans on Mars form families? If Mars had its own independent existence, would they have formed family like us? Is it natural for humans to form family? Because we are interested in understanding humans' life. कि अगर हम humans को छोड़ दें कहीं पर, okay, let us imagine that we have 10 humans, we have dropped those 10 humans in some island, and we now want to study how humans react. And we understood those 10 humans got split into 3 families. One family having 3, second having 3, third family having 4 members. So we understood over a period of time that people split into family. Okay, family here means what? Family here specifically refers to group having emotional bond, who are connected to each other, not just on the basis of blood, but also on the basis of marriage. Okay, because both can create family, right? Blood based and marriage based, both can be source of family. And we have found out that family, the way we understand family today, is not something that was always there. In the past, we never had family. Human civilizations never began with family. Human civilization actually began with horde. Horde, you understand? Primitive hordes. Primitive hordes means basically we were a community of 50 people or 40 people. But we were not a family of 4 or 3. We were a community of 40, 50. And in that life, sexuality was unregulated. That means what? There was free sexuality. Every person would have sexual relation with every other person in that life. But in family, what happens? Your sexuality is regulated. Understanding this? You can't have free sexual relation with people outside. If you are doing this, then you are, according to humans, committing a crime. So we note this. Okay. Humans call having sexual relationship with someone other than the person who's part of your family, specifically wife or husband, as crime. But this was not crime at one point of time. It was actually part of everyday life of the humans. So we actually get very perplexed how humans have evolved. If this is not crime in those society, there must have been something else which was crime in those society. Crime तो उसमें भी कुछ रहा होगा, है ना? वो क्या रहा होगा? If you were committed to one, it was crime. This is actually an anthropological study, okay, that we will be studying later on when we study family kinship. Okay, if you are committed to one, you are criminal. You here, I am not implying man alone, I am talking about women as well. If you as a man or a woman were committed to one person, you were criminal. But today you are rewarded for being committed to one person. Okay, and for getting married to that person eventually. Okay. Humans have evolved. The meaning of crime has evolved. What was criminal in those times is not criminal today. What was normal in those times is becoming crime today, right? So that means sociologists are not just interested in understanding modern life, they are also interested in understanding and comparing modern life vis-a-vis ट्रेडिशनल लाइफ. हम दोनों चीजें करते हैं. हमको सिर्फ मॉडर्निटी को नहीं पढ़ना है, मॉडर्न सभ्यता को, मॉडर्न समाज को नहीं सिर्फ जानना है हमें. हमको तो मॉडर्न समाज को प्रिमिटिव समाज से भी कंपेयर करना है. प्रिमिटिव सोसाइटी. ओके, and then we can find some generalization actually. Okay, not on the basis of one or two society. Remember, when any sociologist or anthropologist would study and give some generalization, that is based not just on the basis of one study or one man. It is always on the basis of multiple study on multiple societies and multiple individuals. So one thing is for sure, that we develop generalizations, we compare modern life with traditional life, and we study familiar things in unfamiliar manner. This is the constant thing. The third point will remain constant in every chapter. Whenever you will read something, you will always feel that you are reading it through a different lens. You never thought about this institution or practice like that. So coming back to my original question, why families exist among humans? Family क्या करती है? Um, when you study family, you have to study it like an outsider. Family actually takes care of our economic needs. होता है ना? See, think like this. Most of us, till the age of late 30s, maybe, or maybe mid 20s, have been dependent on our family for our survival. है ना? Family has taken care of all our economic needs. Family has taken care of the finances, our education loan technically was given by family. It is just that we don't call it loan. Banks give it and they take charge for the same. Family also gives it. They don't take any charge. It is interest free loan that family gives to us. Interest free loan. है ना? ये होता है. बचपन में क्या होता है ना? We have patterned way of interaction with our parents. When we talk to our mother, we talk about homely things. When we talk to our father, we suddenly switch to financial mode. ऐसा होता है. पापा को थोड़ा पैसे चाहिए थे, थोड़े से ही, ज़्यादा नहीं, बस. ठीक है, ये हो जाता है पता नहीं कैसे. ओके. अच्छा. अच्छा, एक तो पहले डर बहुत लग रहा है बिफोर कॉलिंग एंड आस्किंग हिम फॉर फाइनेंस, बिकॉज it's been hardly 20 days when I took the money from father, and after 20 days exact I'm again calling him. So I'm feeling very embarrassed. How would I call him? How would I ask him for more money? So basically, what I'm interested in understanding is that humans have patterned way of interaction. Okay, when it comes to family, we see that family fulfills our economic needs, and the form of interaction of humans with family member is also very patterned. Other than fulfilling economic needs of the individuals, family also do one more thing. It also does one more thing. It actually impose or limits sexuality or regulation on the sexuality. Okay, this is also one function of the family. What does it mean? It simply means that family is one institution in which having sexual relation with the partner is seen as completely fine. That means family as an institution is fulfilling economic needs, is also fulfilling sexual needs. Outside of family, before getting married, if you are engaged in sexual relation, it is not seen as fine. आपने नोटिस किया होगा ये चीज. It is not seen as fine. ह्यूमंस में ऐसा हमने भी देखा, हमने भी क्या देखा, हम भी ह्यूमंस ही हैं बेसिकली, ठीक है। हमने ये चीज हमारे लिए बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, पर हम हर एक उस चीज को जिसको आप फॉर ग्रांटेड लेते होगे, हम हर उस चीज में इंटरेस्ट ढूंढ लेते हैं। यार अमंग ह्यूमंस premarital sex is tabooed, but marital one is not. नोट कर लेते हैं इसको, इंटरेस्टिंग है। अच्छा ये हाउ कम दैट वाज tabooed, दिस वाज नॉट, और इसमें ऐसा क्या हुआ दैट इट इज नॉट tabooed? बिकॉज इसमें देर वॉज नो taboo involved, because here humans had actually printed cards, distributed the cards, informed everybody that we will be having wedding, exchanged rings, got some photos clicked, invited us for dal makhani and butter naan as well. Okay, and then finally they will have their life. Now they can have free life. All these are actually part of rituals that humans conduct. Okay, it is like ritual, printing cards, sending the cards, inviting the people, having some jokes and laughter while having dinner, while having dal makhani, having some jokes, okay, while exchanging rings, getting some photos. All these rituals are done. Now it's no longer taboo. Very interesting thing for us. So one thing we have understood, family fulfills not just economic needs, it also fulfills sexual needs. Third thing that family does is that family actually is giving you social placement. एक हमारा प्लेसमेंट होता है कॉलेज में, है ना, या नहीं होता, जो भी होता है ना, दोनों ही है बेसिकली, मतलब एक्सपेक्ट तो करते ही है ना, पर वी एक्सपेक्ट प्लेसमेंट, economic placement in the college, but we actually get first placement in family. How? You actually got placed into caste because you were born in this family. Did you choose your caste? Social placement. बिना इंटरव्यू के आपको कास्ट मिल गई है, आपसे पूछा भी नहीं गया। कौन सी फ्रीडम है हमारे पास? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो बोलता है फ्री, कौन सा फ्री? बिना इंटरव्यू के आपको रिलीजन मिल गया आपको। यू आर born into a religion, you were born into a caste, you did not choose any one of these. Later on you may choose, but then you will feel the consequences. समाज will not let you choose these things, क्योंकि ऑर्डर बना दिया समाज ने that you will be born with these things. And what is the name of that institution which is gifting you these things? Family. क्या स्कूल हमें कास्ट देता है? फैमिली ही देती है। यानी फैमिली तो बहुत सारे काम कर रही है यार, हमारी इकोनॉमिक नीड्स को पूरा कर रही है, हमें सोशल प्लेसमेंट भी दे रही है, और सेक्सुअल नीड्स को भी फुलफिल करती है। मेरा सवाल आपसे बड़ा एक सिंपल सा है, क्या आपने फैमिली को इस नजर से कभी देखा था? इस नजर से देखा था कभी, जिस नजर से अभी मैंने डिस्कस किया? शायद देखा हो, थोड़ा बहुत तो देखा ही होगा, ऐसा थोड़ा कि बिल्कुल नहीं देखा, थोड़ा बहुत तो देखा ही होगा, राइट? इकोनॉमिक नीड तो फटाफट रिलेट किए होगे, थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग लगा होगा सेक्सुअल नीड वाला, और ये सोशल प्लेसमेंट तो फिर भी रिलेटिवली आसान है। बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू इज कि हमने किया क्या, वी जस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड फैमिलियर थिंग कॉल्ड एज फैमिली इन एन अनफैमिलियर वे। यही काम है बस सोशोलॉजिस्ट का। दे स्टडी थिंग्स but they don't get emotional. This is what makes them very objective. they stayed detached while studying us. They are also one of us, but they try not to be one of us. They study us like somebody who's not from planet Earth. I often say, sociologists come from Mars. I often say this and I will repeat this in many of my lectures. Sociologists come from Mars only to study human beings placed on Earth. They have come from Mars to study human beings who are on Earth. And once they complete their study, they will go back to Mars. When you study some of the pages written by those people who have gone to Mars, because while going back to Mars, some of the pages of their diary were left behind. Okay. And humans started reading those pages. ये कौन थे जो हमारे बारे में ये सब लिख के गए हैं? And then you started reading about what family does among humans, what social media does among humans, अरे what marriage does among humans. ये हमारे बारे में कौन लिख के जा रहा है ये सब? Sociologists. Whenever you read any sociological work, you will always feel that you are reading about yourself only, but as if some outer planet person is writing on you. Did you ever try reading sociology before? किसी ने ट्राई नहीं किया ना? किसी ने भी नहीं किया? हाँ। अरे बाप रे, तुम तो बहुत आगे चले गए. Did anyone try reading sociology? Yes. Online students, did you guys try reading sociology on your own? Yes. Okay. Actually, I don't want you to read anything. Why? Because I always believe blank slate जो होता है ना, blank slate, tabula rasa उसको हम बोलते हैं, blank slate. If you come blank slate, that means empty slate without any prior knowledge of whatever you have acquired. Okay. It is best because blank slates are um, easy to fill. Then slates which are already filled. Okay. I'm not saying that the people who have read sociology before stand at any sort of disadvantage vis-a-vis those who are coming with fresh mind. I'm just trying to tell you that in the process of learning things, we also have to unlearn. कभी अभी क्या होता है ना, सिर्फ पढ़ाई काफी नहीं होती, भूलना भी काफी होता है. ओके, भूलना भी जरूरी होता है, मतलब काफी तो नहीं, जरूरी होता है. यानी कि पढ़ा हुआ कुछ शायद आपको भुलाना भी पड़े, तो उसमें कोई हर्ज की बात नहीं है. उल्टा वही फर्ज होना चाहिए इस तैयारी में, बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू read so many things in this preparation that you can't afford to remember everything. You will eventually have to forget. The question is, what is going to be forgotten? What can be forgotten is something that we will have to decide, and we will decide all those things on the basis of PYQs. Previous year questions will actually help us understand कि भाई, you don't have to go into those territory, and you have to limit yourself to this particular territory. Okay. Whenever we read sociology, okay, we always have to just understand one thing, only one thing. We don't have to let our human self get involved. So that means what? आपको बस अपने ही पर्सपेक्टिव को भुलाना है about the world that you are living in, and you have to learn the new perspective, okay, of looking at humans. और कुछ नहीं करना, तो इससे अच्छा तो और क्या ही है. You have to uh, unlearn everything that you have learned about human samaj, and you have to relearn the human samaj in a new manner. There is a very great scholar, Alvin Toffler. He once said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be the ones who can't read or write, but they will be the ones who can't learn, unlearn and relearn. यानी कि 21वीं सदी के illiterate वो लोग होंगे जो लर्न, अनलर्न या रीलर्न नहीं कर सकते, बजाय कि रीड और राइट नहीं कर सकते. क्यों? क्योंकि रीड और राइट तो एवरीबडी कैन डू. एवरीबडी कैन रीड सोशियोलॉजी, एवरीबडी कैन रीड हिस्ट्री, एवरीबडी कैन रीड पॉलिटी. रीड भाई, you give history book to some person who's shopping in Connaught Place, he will read history. उसमें उसको क्या बड़ी बात है? Okay. You give the book on what we call as sociology to a person who's shopping at some place in CP. He will read that book. What is so difficult about sociology or about history or about anything else? Okay. The problem is not reading anymore. Everybody can read. The problem is learning. Everybody can't learn. Few people learn. Everybody reads, few people learn. And still very few unlearn. And very, very few people relearn. जिसकी एल्विन टॉफलर बात कर रही है ना, 21वीं सदी के इलिटरेट लोग कौन होंगे जो ये तीन नहीं कर पाएंगे. पहले दो तो सब लोग कर लेंगे. Which means when I will organize tests in the class, most of you will write. Read and write is no longer a challenge, but very few will write it right. Very few will write it right. And still very few will write it right on time. Write it right on time. ये तो बिल्कुल वो कल जैसे एथिक्स में क्वेश्चन आ गया था कुछ ट्रबल वाला, वैसा सही लग रहा था मेरे को, कहीं स्टेटमेंट वैसा ना बन जाए. राइट इट राइट ऑन टाइम. ये तो और भी कम लोग के साथ होगा. दिस इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी सो इजी. ओके, सो दैट मीन्स व्हाट यू मस्ट नॉट be afraid of, which is something that I want to tell you in the at the very onset of the class. Do not ever feel that you need to read anything else. In our class, whatever we do is going to be more and more than sufficient. Not just more than sufficient. In fact, that is the only thing which is required. Let me put it out like this. जैसा मर्जी साउंड करे भले ये, it does not matter. You don't have to read anything else means literally you don't have to read anything else. There is a reason why we take 5.5 months. Okay, or 5 months. घबराने की बात नहीं है. There is a reason why we take 5 months. Because we don't just cover things, but we also cover them thoroughly. That means my focus is a lot on conceptual clarity firstly. Second, we focus a lot on answer writing. And that can't happen without PYQs. And so we solve PYQs in the class. Many times I'll be writing answers. Okay. So that is why. Plus the handouts that we give. Those handouts are made keeping the requirement of your exam in perspective. Nothing else. And that is why I say it with utmost conviction that if you just be regular in the class, that means not just today, if you stay up every day for the next 5 months and be regular in the class at 8:30 if you come. Okay. Trust me, you will feel big change in your life. बिग चेंज, मतलब ये बात सिर्फ अब सोशियोलॉजी की नहीं रह चुकी है, अब ये बात सिर्फ सोशियोलॉजी की। 8:30 की क्लास करने का मतलब पता है क्या होता है? व्हेन वाज द लास्ट टाइम यू डिड 8:30 का क्लास? स्कूल में किया था ना? स्कूल में किया था। कॉलेज तो आफ्टर स्कूल यू आर गोइंग टू डू क्लास एट 8:30. It is challenge, and you can actually meet this challenge very easily if you start organizing your life right from today. I will also reorganize my life. Okay, because it is not just challenge for you, it is challenge for me, and I will simply admit this, it is actually challenge for me. Okay, but I will take this challenge up because this is not just a classroom for me, it is actually a method for me to reorganize my life. And why should anyone stay up till late night? You will always feel the people who have studied late, they feel tired throughout the day, they feel lazy throughout the day. When they wake up, it appears that there is light, but deep inside they are feeling dark. बाहर लाइट मोड चल रहा है, अंदर डार्क मोड चल रहा है. This is something that happens when you wake up at 2 p.m. and when you are up till 5 a.m. There are many people who are like this. Okay, so this class will definitely impose discipline, and definitely this is one thing which is required in our preparation. Okay, learning things alone is not sufficient until you learn it in disciplined manner. And think like this, when most of the people will wake up, you would be done with your sociology class. कई बच्चे जब उठेंगे पहली बार, तब तक आपका सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ चुके होंगे आप. वो उनको उठने के बाद 1 घंटा 2 घंटा और चाहिए, बिकॉज फर्स्ट they will go out, they will have some पोहा. ओके, पहले उनको पोहा खाना है, देन दे विल हैव चाय, फील भी चाहिए, है ना, पोहा के साथ. एंड द थर्ड थिंग इज, और क्या होता है? साबूदाना भी होता है ना, साबूदाना, साबूदाना पोहा मिक्स, राइट, वड़ा पाव. अच्छा, ये सब 2 घंटे करने के बाद देन दे विल आस्क ईच अदर, क्या पढ़ना है आज, आज क्या पढ़ने वाला है भाई. अच्छा, 3 hours आर गॉन इन दिस ओनली, एंड दिस हैपेंस एवरी डे. But you would be done with your class, and not just class, you would also be done with your revision of the class by then. So our target would be to have 2 hour class till 10:30, and at max I will expect you to just revise it only and only for 20 minutes, nothing more, और कुछ भी नहीं. I don't expect anything apart from regular revision and regular appearance in the class, और कुछ चाहिए नहीं. बाकी सब कुछ हो जाता है लाइफ में, पता है, बाकी सब कुछ हो जाएगा, बस आपको ये दोनों करना है, रेगुलर अपीयरेंस एंड रेगुलर रिवीजन. ओके, एंड थर्ड थिंग जो हमें ज़रूर ध्यान रखनी है इस तैयारी में, वो ये है कि व्हेन यू प्रिपेयर दिस सब्जेक्ट, you often feel one important uh, dilemma. Okay, there is a dilemma that is experienced by people when they start studying this subject. Sometimes they get too much involved with the subject. Okay, subject is interesting, definitely, they may get involved, but now this is going to be your responsibility that you don't get too much involved. You are not here to become teacher or professor, or you're not here to do PhD. Okay. What does it mean? It simply means one thing. If you have any doubt, you should straight away ask me. And you are not allowed to ask the doubt to Google or ChatGPT or some other. You must ask that doubt to me, right in the class itself. Okay. The more you accumulate doubts, the more it creates trouble for you. And see, there is no shame in asking any sort of question. We may start thinking यार मेरा क्वेश्चन कैसा साउंड करेगा यार, बाकी लोगों का क्वेश्चन तो काफी अच्छा लग रहा है, ये तो मैंने सोचा नहीं था, इतना मैं सोच पाऊंगा या पाऊंगी. बट अगर मैंने इस पूरे विचार के अंदर अपना हाँ कोई विचार रखा, कैसा लगेगा? अरे बहुत अच्छा लगेगा, सच में एक बार रख कर देखो. यू आर एस्पायरिंग टू बी डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट. ओके, ये तो छोटी सी क्लास है ना. See, preparation is not just about academics. It's not just about reading things, writing things. It's also about your personality development. I firmly believe if you ask questions, you are helping many people around you. So if you are feeling shy of asking question, at least think of helping other people. You know? Because that same doubt may help many other people around you. And it may also help me in actually addressing the elephant in the room. I may have assumed something कि शायद यार इनको पता होगा, but had it not been for the question that you asked, I would not have addressed it. I would have simply moved on. I would have been very thankful to you कि यार आपने पूछा, थैंक यू. मैं उस सबसे ज्यादा खुश होऊंगा जब आप सवाल पूछोगे. मुझे पता चलेगा कि भाई कहाँ पे समस्या है, कहाँ पे नहीं है. एंड देन आई विल रीओरिएंट माई सेल्फ दैट वे. हालांकि वो कम ही होगा, लेकिन फिर भी सवाल आपको जरूर पूछना है अपना, कहने का मतलब ये है. ठीक है. एंड यू डोंट हैव टू, as I clearly mentioned already, you don't have to read any book, any text, any topper notes. You may come across many people who will tell you that read this book. This is read by everybody on planet Earth. Okay, how can you not read this? Okay, so think like this, that there are many things that you will realize after a point of time. When you read something, it doesn't make any sense until you can explain it to somebody else. But simple सी है. If I've read something and if I'm not able to explain it to someone, how did the reading actually help me in the first place? And that is why I always say, learn, but also learn it in a way that you can explain it to the other people. And I always talk about rickshaw man, rickshaw wala. If you have learned something, you can't explain it to rickshaw puller. You can always assume this to be a litmus test for your everyday life learning. You learned something today, you learned repo rate today, you learned CRR today, cash reserve ratio. Can you explain it to rickshaw puller? Okay, now you would be thinking, भाई हमें करना क्यों है उनको? But why should we explain it to rickshaw puller? Because that will actually make you more and more comfortable with the concept. जितना आप uncomfortable शुरू में होगे ना उसके साथ, and you actually get more and more uncomfortable with the concept when you go out of your privileged position and confront the common man and try to explain it to that common man. Then you understand the difficulty that common man will experience. But then in the whole process of explaining it to the common man, your knowledge will get refined. You will see this. And now you will come out with what we call as better clarity or refined nuance on that area. Okay, nuanced knowledge on that area. So these are the basic details that I wanted to share with you. Okay, now if you have any sort of question, you are free to ask me. Online students, you guys are free to ask me any sort of question that you have with regard to class. किसी का कोई भी डाउट किसी भी टाइप का? हाँ जी. सी ओके, योर नेम वाज शिखर. ठीक है. ही इज आस्किंग शुड वी मेक one page notes parallelly or should we do it after the syllabus is done? Okay, so see, I'll be very honest with you. You can't actually make one pager notes right away. Okay, initially it will take time for you to first absorb the concept, and you will not read a concept just for once. You will get introduced to the same concept multiple times in the classes. And when you will get multiple exposure to the same concept, then your knowledge will get more and more refined. Then you will be in a position to write one pager note. Because to write one pager, इसका मतलब जरूरी होता है कि आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत ही डेप्थ प्राप्त कर चुकी है. मेरा ये मानना है कि डेप्थ ऑफ योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू लेंथ ऑफ योर नोट्स. आपके नोट्स जो हैं अगर बहुत ज्यादा बड़े हैं तो आपकी डेप्थ बहुत कम है, और अगर आपके नोट्स बहुत छोटे हो चुके हैं तो आपने शायद डेप्थ हासिल कर ली है. बट वो पहले दिन से नहीं होता है. इट इज अ प्रोसेस. सम थिंग्स, not something, in fact I would say everything is a process. Some things should be seen as stages of the process. Note making is actually a stage in the whole process of learning something. Okay, so give yourself time. Okay, and the best time I would tell you to make notes would be preparing for the tests. When you will prepare for the test, whenever we inform you that you will be having next test on this day, so we'll inform you 15 days prior to that test. Okay, this is how we do. We don't have any a calendar for that. Okay, because we go according to the units that we complete. When you will prepare for the test, then you will be making the notes. Then you will see, in fact not even then, maybe after writing the test, after realizing that you may have studied so many things, but when it comes to writing test in the stipulated time, it is difficult for you to recall so many things now. Then you will realize, okay, so what needs to be decluttered, what needs to be completely eliminated from my notes, and what should I focus more on. Then you will realize that you end up with one page notes very gradually. Okay, yeah. So do we have to rely only on class notes and handout? That's it? Yes, that's it. That's it. And you just have to trust. यही तो सबसे मुश्किल काम है. सी क्या होता है मैं आपको बताता हूँ. One thing that goes on in our mind is, ये सब कोचिंग वाले बोलते हैं यार, ये सब कोचिंग वालों को तो यही तो कहना है ना, कि बस हमारा नोट्स पढ़ लो हो जाता है. ऐसा नहीं है. रीजन क्या है? हम सिर्फ फोकस ना इस चीज पे नहीं कर रहे हैं कि आप लोग पढ़ाई करो. हमारा फोकस ये भी है दैट आप लोग जानो यूपीएससी कैसे क्वेश्चंस पूछता है. You must know what kind of questions are asked by UPSC. You don't just read something blindly. Don't follow anything blindly. We will be giving you PYQ booklet. Okay. Unsolved one, not solved one. Okay. We'll be giving you unsolved PYQ booklet. That booklet will actually make you understand what are the areas that UPSC focus a lot on, and how much of the depth is required in those areas. What has been the weightage of those units or those areas in the past? Whatever we have covered, will it address or will it not address? You will actually get to know all those things right away in the class itself. And that is why I often say don't read anything else. Do not. Because मेरा यही बस पर्पस है कि आप लोग सिर्फ नोट्स नहीं, कॉन्फिडेंस भी लेके जाओ, क्योंकि कमी उसी चीज की हो रही है लाइफ में। कॉन्फिडेंस, वी एक्चुअली गो इनटू सेल्फ डाउट मोड। ये कई बार होएगा, है ना? कई बार हमें अपने ऊपर डाउट आएगा, हमारे डिसीजंस पे डाउट आ जाएगा। कभी अभी लगेगा यार यूपीएससी की तैयारी तो मैंने गलती से शुरू नहीं कर दी, कहीं ऐसा लगने लग जाएगा बीच में, कहीं मैं पोहा गलत दुकान पे तो नहीं खाने आ गया। ठीक है, हर चीज में डाउट आ जाता है हमारे। मेरा ये मानना है कि ना सबसे बड़ा जो हमारा दुश्मन है वो हमारा सेल्फ डाउट होता है। अपने ऊपर जो डाउट हम करते हैं ना हर चीज पे, वो सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन है हमारा। और इस दुश्मन को खत्म करने का तरीका एक ही होता है कि आप इसकी कमजोरियां समझ लो। कमजोरियां क्या क्या है सेल्फ डाउट की? ठीक है, जब हम अपने आप को पहचान नहीं पाते हैं, अपनी कमियों को जान नहीं पाते हैं, स्ट्रेंथ्स को नहीं समझ पाते, तो हम हमेशा सेल्फ डाउट में जाते हैं। बट एक बार हम जान जाएं कि ये हमारी कमजोरियां हैं, ये हमारी स्ट्रेंथ है, वो डाउट धीरे धीरे कम होने लग जाता है, कॉन्फिडेंस आता है। और वही मेरा प्लान भी है कि आप लोग सिर्फ पढ़ो ना, कॉन्फिडेंट होके भी जाओ, और जो पढ़ो उसको लिखना भी जानो, PYQs को जानो, यूपीएससी कैसे पूछता है। Will the institute provide us with material other than class handouts? Sanmetha, yes. For online students, what we do is we provide things in PDF format. Offline students, we provide things in hard copy. Okay. And other than these things, I don't think there is any other special thing that I need to mention when it comes to handout. Whatever we do in the class, you will also notice one more thing, that the structure that I follow in the class while explaining something, you will find almost similar kind of structure in the handouts. Most of the times what happens is that classroom is going in one direction, handout is given in some other direction. That you will never feel, because handouts I have personally made. Okay, those handouts are not made by anybody else. They are not devolved to somebody else. There was no separate team for this. I am the only person who has made this. Okay, and I have thoroughly analyzed PYQs, and only after those I decided to make those handouts. So you can safely rely on that, and you will never feel both are going in different direction. Both are actually are in sync with each other. Okay, so बस इतना ही होता है कि ना, मैं आपको बताता हूँ, एक क्वेश्चन ये भी होता है, should I rely on class notes or should I need to study handout as well? Okay, and how do we go about dictation part? How do we dictate? Usually in the class, um, although I have not done any quantitative analysis on my own uh, classroom pedagogy, but I can safely tell you, for 40 to 45 minutes at max, we can have dictation. But most of the time, that means 1.5 hour or maybe 1 hour 20 minutes, we actually have discussion. Okay, because I firmly believe once we discuss things, once we understand things, once we are able to relate with those things, it is easier for us to write those things. उसमें कोई बड़ा चैलेंज नहीं है। मेरा मानना है कि ये 3 लाइन लिखना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, अगर आप वो पीछे का एसेंस समझना शुरू कर चुके होगे। ठीक है, सो the dictation that we do lasts for maximum 40 minutes, and it does not happen in one go. Okay, it happens with some breaks in between. We start discussing something and then we again go back to dictation mode. So it goes very organically. I can't plan it, okay, that 15 minutes for discussion and then 10 minutes for dictation. No, it goes organically. And secondly, if you are regular with the class notes, you don't need to necessarily go through handouts. You don't have to take extra burden of going through handout as well. But yes, at least for the first 4 units, because you are going to get introduced to a new subject altogether now. At least for the first 4 units, I do recommend students to actually go through handout at least once. The language in the handout will be more technical. Initially, it will appear technical to you for obvious reasons. Although lectures will not appear so much technical to you. I will make sure that I tell you things in the most easiest language. But the handouts, they will have some academic or technical stuff, okay, or linguistic pattern. But you don't need to get bogged down with the language. You don't need to get scared by the kind of things that are written. You just have to understand that the handouts are going to make you prepared for the eventuality. Eventuality means ki one fine day when you have understood things, when you don't need to really explain it to rickshaw man, when you have attained that basic understanding and ideas, then you can safely go through those handouts. Just skim through them. You don't even need to rectify them or note them, or but you can just skim through them. So many a times I don't even recommend my own handouts to students. Let alone any other book, I don't recommend even my own handouts. I just recommend only class notes. But only for the first 4 chapters I do recommend handouts, so that you actually develop good familiarity with the kind of text that sociologists write on. Okay. Is sociology subject is static or current also means we have to update things on this or not? So, subject is very static. I'll be very honest with you. खराब भी लगता है बोलते हुए, ठीक है, बट अच्छा भी लगता है. दोनों में एक मिक्स फीलिंग होती है. मैंने अक्सर ये नोट किया है, ये जब भी सेंटेंस में बोलता हूँ कि सोशियोलॉजी स्टैटिक सब्जेक्ट है, खराब लगता है मतलब, पर अच्छा भी है. खराब इसलिए क्योंकि स्टैटिक मतलब ना ऐसा हो जाता है कि स्टैटिक है मतलब जिंदगी वैसी रहेगी इसमें. एक्चुअली क्या है ना, सब्जेक्ट स्टैटिक है, लेकिन इस सब मैं हमेशा ये मानता हूँ, दिस इज नॉट अ सब्जेक्ट, इट इज एक्चुअली नजरिया, इट इज एक्चुअली वे ऑफ लाइफ, इट इज अ पर्सपेक्टिव. और पर्सपेक्टिव चाहे जितने पुराने हो, वो दे कैन बी अप्लाइड टू एनी न्यू थिंग एंड दे कैन गिव यू फ्रेश इंसाइट्स. I can apply Marxian framework in the modern life, will give me fresh insights. I can apply feminist framework on modern life, it will again give me fresh insights. But subject is static in itself. UPSC in the past 5-6 years has hardly asked question worth 20 marks from current affair out of 500. 2018 was the exceptional year. 2018 was the exceptional year. That was the time when UPSC asked worth 80 marks current affair out of 500 marks worth sociology. Last year there was no current affair, zero. Everything was static. This year we are going to have paper on 31st. We will see. So we are as curious as you guys would be. Okay, we would be very curious to know what kind of paper UPSC will give this time around. Will they have current affair this time? Like last year, they did not have. Before that, they had 10 marks worth weightage. But to answer your question, current affair is insignificant. Okay, and whatever is important, I actually cover that in the class itself. Whatever is important, I cover that in the class itself. Okay, like I just talked about fantasy gaming. I had choice not to talk about it. It is not there in the syllabus per se, right? But I just wanted to explain to you very basic concept of desires of individuals according to Durkheim, who is actually in our syllabus. He says that in the village life, our desires are well regulated. In the city life, our desires go unregulated. We want everything. And then we start questioning ourselves when we don't get everything. We start going into depression mode. Social media is making our desires unregulated. So I just wanted to connect with that. That is why I introduced fantasy gaming. Okay. So Durkheim would not have imagined that his writings would be applied to fantasy gaming, right? But this is something that we do. Okay. Um, when I read few thinkers all together, then I get confused and find it difficult as to where to apply them. And it gets difficult for me to then recall or learn them. And everything feels same after a point. Namita, because you have not studied them, you have just read them. Okay. I honestly feel even if you आप सीधी सी बात आप ये बोल रहे हो when I read few thinkers all together यानी कि जब मैंने कुछ फूड आइटम्स एक साथ खाई then I get confused बिल्कुल होगी and I find it difficult as to where to apply them and it gets difficult for me to then recall or learn them बिल्कुल अगर आप दाल मखनी को दही शाही पनीर और भिंडी की सब्जी के साथ क्लब करके खाओगे तो आप कंफ्यूज हो ही जाओगे कि आप क्या खा रहे हो और इसमें दाल कब आई और भिंडी कब आई कंफ्यूज हो गए आपको अपनी लाइफ में पहले तो ना ऑर्डर लाने की बड़ी ज़रूरत है अगर आप कोई भी चीज़ लाइफ में जल्दबाजी में करोगे वो कभी भी आपके साथ लंबा देर तक रुकने नहीं वाली है कोई भी चीज़ जल्दबाजी में कोई होगी ना वो आपके साथ स्टे करेगी नहीं कभी भी आपको चीज़ों को वक्त देना ज़रूरी है यू नीड टू गिव टाइम and you especially need to give time to this preparation and when it comes to optional you need to definitely give time to thinkers so Namita you just need to um, understand one thing that you may not have understood those things explained by thinkers that is why they are not staying with you those ideas are not staying with you so please tell about NCRTs will NCRT notes be included in your handouts or do we have to read it ourselves yes Ellie NCRTs, I'll be very honest, whatever is important from NCRT, we already cover in the class itself. We don't leave anything, including NCRT. There are some resources. Some of those resources have been paraphrased and have been included in the handouts. But you will never get to know that they are borrowed from NCRT or Anthony Giddens or some other book. Okay. So, but you must understand that you don't need to read even NCRT. In fact, मैं तो ये बोलता हूँ कि मत पढ़ना प्लीज उसको एनसीईआरटी को मुझे डर लगता है कहीं आपको बोरिंग ना लगने लग जाए सब्जेक्ट सब्जेक्ट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग इफ यू विल स्टार्ट रीडिंग एनसीईआरटी मुझे डर लगता है कहीं आपको सब्जेक्ट ना बोरिंग लग जाए आई एक्चुअली केम अक्रॉस अ स्टूडेंट 1 month back. How did he decide his optional? He was confused between sociology and public administration. After reading NCRT, he got clarity that he needs to go for PubEd. So, see, the issue is NCRT was never ever made to convince us that sociology is a subject that you should take for optional preparation. It was basically made for 11th students for their exam. And you know very well, when you are studying in 11th class, you are not thinking about interest in the subject. आपको किसकी मतलब रहता है? रिपोर्ट कार्ड से. वैसे अभी भी वही मतलब होगा हमारा जीवन में, अभी भी हमारा मतलब वही रह जाएगा. Eventually we will be again concerned with marks only, but unlike your 11th class days where you could have scored without interest, here without interest you will never be able to get score. Okay. And I believe with NCRT's interest do not develop in sociology or in optional, for that matter, in any optional. Okay. So I asked him, did you read NCRT on PubEd? He said that was not available. And then I told him, if it was available, you would not have read even PubEd. Kyunki NCRT is not the right point of introduction for you guys to understand which optional to go for. वो वैसे ठीक है, बट इतना बड़ा डिसीजन आप वो छोटी सी किताब के बेसिस पे कैसे लोगे? 11th क्लास के बच्चे उसको पढ़ रहे हैं अभी अपनी लाइफ के लिए, आप उसके बेसिस पे अपने इंटरेस्ट कैसे शेप कर लोगे? नहीं कर पाते. सो when will separate sociology test series going to be launched separate? Okay, I think you need to check on website. Motad Rahul Kumar, sir, can we see recording only for 2 times? Sir, please increase at least 5 times. It's a request, sir. Please make it at least 5 times. Acha. Okay, next question देख लेता हूँ मैं. Sir, are our lecture notes enough or need to read any books you that refer to us to read? Puneet, only notes, only lecture notes and presence of mind. Only lecture notes and presence of mind, nothing else. Pratik Priyadarshan, as much as I feel excited to study sociology and want to give as much time as possible, wanted to know, sir, when can we expect the syllabus to end so that can balance between PT and socio from mid-Jan? From mid-Jan, you can safely assume. My target is actually to complete your syllabus by Jan end at any cost. This is the reason why we have 6 days classes in your course. Okay, this is the only reason, so that you actually finish the course by January end. Okay. Vaishnavi Sharma, sir, at least uh, can you me what should I do or read to get confirmed that I want this optional? Vaishnavi, can you rephrase your question, please? Saloni, sir, what about doubt session for online students? So this is going on, Saloni. This is doubt session only that is going on for online students. Okay. So think like this. There is no discrimination in our class. There is no offline versus online. It goes with the online. Okay. Whatever we are doing in the class is available for the online students as well. Even if you have to ask any question, you are free to ask your questions. Okay. um, on the website, Surya, on the website, book launching date, book whenever it will be launched, we will definitely let you know, Naveen. ओके, सो आप लोगों का कोई डाउट है? एनी डाउट फ्रॉम द ऑफलाइन? यस। Oh yes, definitely, definitely. In fact, I was planning to end this lesson, end this class today by 10. I did not even get to know when did I pass or surpass the time. So yes, by 10:30 your class will get over every day. Okay, you can safely assume that. And by 8:30 only we'll begin the class. So class will be held for 2 days, for okay, 2 hours, and it will continue till 6 days. And if you have any sort of doubt in between, you are free to ask your questions. Okay, including online students. आपको कोई भी doubt हो उस time पे, you are free to ask your questions. Okay. Okay, guys. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, many times. Yes, they do. Actually, they confront each other. Sir, I try to explain complex concepts in Hindi as well. In Hindi as well. Definitely, Venkatesh, I will do. Karthike, there is no such pattern because we don't plan how many thinkers we will include in the teaching. It flows organically. Once you have internalize those things, na, those things then come organically. They can't be quantified. Do we have, we can contact with you, so we have to write some question answer. Can we share with you for checking? Is there, no, Puni, there is no daily answer writing evaluation. But yes, there is daily answer writing. Not daily per se, but regular answer writing. But evaluation for that regular answer writing in the class is not there. Evaluation is there for test series alone, which is part of that foundation. Vaishnavi, sir, at least I want to ask that I have seen syllabus PYQ and some content social, but वही जो आपने बोला to get clarity to take this option, what should I do? Clarity तभी वैष्णवी मैंने बोला take proper classes and you will actually feel very confident afterwards. If you feel that you have tried enough, you are not able to get clarity, take the class. Thank you, Hashwant.